there. Otherwise, she's the one who generally helps me and reminds me rather. Okay, let's start. So today's movie is Mulan, and Mulan is based on Chinese folk story called the Ballad of Mulan. And in Chinese, Mulan means magnolia flower. It's a very interesting story, and what it talks about is that it's a very popular tale told to people, and to most of the children in China, right from Tang Dynasty in 618 to 907. And in China, Mulan is a byword for heroines, and Mulan's story is a household tale to encourage the girls to be a brave or to make a man out of you, like kind of a thing, right? And the gist of this entire movie is what this movie is all about. That in Hua Mulan, there are two sisters, and her father is a warrior, and he has fought in many battles. However, he's old now, and the Chinese, China as a country is under attack from northern invaders. And at that point of time, the emperor says that we are going to go to each household in China and let one boy, one man from every house or every family enroll in the army. Now, unfortunately, they were only two sisters, and they could not enroll because of the typical, male-dominated society rules over there. Now, so in that way, the father enrolled himself. However, Mulan, she was who was brought up like a boy, even though the father was not appreciated, the family was looked out upon in that village, but he said no problem, and this is how my daughter is, right? Now, and she actually takes the place of her father, and in disguise actually goes and enrolls in the army as that she's not Hua Mulan. She's she was called an imposter, that you are not a man but you acted like a man. But having said that, when the time comes, she was the one who saves the emperor. And the emperor was very happy, and he says that why don't you take a place in my court and be a part of my close knit bodyguards? And she refused, and she said, I'm very happy, I just want to stay with my family. And everybody was shocked that how she could, even though she is a woman, how could be such an amazing warrior. So this is where the entire story is all about. And when I was watching this movie, it was like so many emotions were getting stirred up in me. And I've seen it twice, and I probably can see it couple of more number of times, because every time when I watch it, something new happens. Now, typically from the start, typically, Mulan shows that she does not precisely falls into what is a typical stereotypal way of behaving, of what is expected of her as a woman. And early on, she makes her father proud when she was saving a chicken. So there's an instance in the movie when, as a child, she goes and takes care of a chicken. She shaves a chicken, and though her actions are not approved by her society, and the movie portrays traditional women stereotypes, typical, and if I look at what typically happens in the society today, there are glass ceilings by the women, of course. There's a lot of talk about women empowerment, but at the end of the day, yeah, and this is quite an old story, though, if I go back, right? So this, in a way, this is extremely important, because the when we talk of women equality, when we talk of the gender equality, when we talk of diversity, when we start appreciating what women power is all about, somewhere, there is still a gap. And for that reason, I'm specifically talking about this, because Mulan in those days was also able, to overcome them, right? And then one of the very beautiful instances in the movie is when the Mulan's father tells Mulan that there is no courage without fear. Now, if you look at this statement here, no courage without fear. Now, when we overcome a fear, then it becomes courage. Similarly, for any story, or for that matter, for any hero to become a hero, there has to be a villain, right? So this also tells us that whatever we look at life, in terms of whatever we wish to do, so we'll always find you have to overcome something to become who you are. Or maybe there are two sides of that coin, which one being the better and the other one being the bad one, probably. Or probably one inspires the other one. It can be looked at in various fashions, right? And the another interesting part, if you look at the movie, is when she is actually behaving like a man. And when she's fighting with one of the witches in the enemy, who's also a lady there, and she said that, tell me who you are. And she says, you know what, I'm Hua Zhon, the soldier in the imperial army of China. And she says, no, you are a liar. Till the time you will speak the truth, you'll not be able to come out with your true powers, and your deceit will weaken you. This set me thinking that how often, uh, even though in the hearts of hearts we know who we are, but we do not project it, we do not speak about it, we do not share that. And as a result of that, somewhere there's always a gap. As a result of that, somewhere we feel that probably I can do much more than what I think I'm doing right now, but somewhere there is a fear which holds us, right? So I think our deceit, whatever, I mean, I would say, instead of talking about your deceit weakens you, which was said to Mulan, I would say for each one of us, whenever we are not who we are, whenever there's a mask, so to say, we wear, and to protect that mask, sometimes we have to wear a mask of masks, right? So our deceit can actually weaken us. So let's take that step to tell people this is who we are. This is what I do. This is why I do what I do, right? And interestingly here, uh, there were three beautiful things which were driven in this movie, and which drives Mulan as well. What we typically say is values and virtues. Now, if you come to think of it, a lot of people use the terms values and virtues, interchangeably. But if you come to think of it, they are not the same, right? So what do we mean by values and virtues? Remember, virtues are lived values. For example, honesty, is a good virtue. But unless otherwise you are honest and living that, it doesn't become a value, right? So ask yourself, there are certain things which are aspirational, and they are our values. This is who I am, this is who I want to be, this is how I want to live my life. But till the time I live my life in that, you know it remains as an aspirational value. So remember, for any value to become your virtue, you have to live it. And when I say you have to live that value, it would not be easy. And in the movie, loyal, brave, and true are three things which are actually written on Hua Mulan's father's sword. And when they were given this oath as a soldier of loyal, brave, and true, it was disturbing to her, and she walks up to the commander. However, before she could say whatever she wanted to say, she wanted to confess that, I'm a woman, I'm not a man. But the commander probably thought, he said, okay, fine, you know what, you are a brave man, I would want my daughter to get married to you, blah 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 blah. And she even could not share the truth, right? So loyal, brave, and true, these were the three, I would say, anchors, or three, I would say, the needles of the compass, which were moving her forward. All her actions were emanating from being loyal, brave, and true. Another instance in the movie is when there's a beautiful conversation which is happening between the witch and Mulan, wherein the witch says, you know what, I was also a girl like you once, and I was not accepted by the society because of the powers I have. So much so that, I had to shed that noble path and join, or maybe come to this side of the fence. Why don't you join me? And we can find our place together. We can actually rule this world. Now, at that point of time, Mulan said, you know what, my duty is to be loyal to the throne, which is the imperial, dynasty in China. And there are so many instances wherein she says, I have to be loyal, brave, and true. At that point of time, she sheds that armor of that man, and she actually takes who she is. She becomes a woman, and she goes and she conquers the enemy in the battlefield, right? And at that point of time, she says that, you told me, I mean, this is what she was telling the others, that you told me my journey was impossible, and yet here I stand proof there is a place for people like us, people who live with these values, people who follow what their heart says them to do. And when you follow your heart, you'll also find your path. you know I would like to add something here. When you say when you follow your heart, now what is right according to you is something which you have to decide. Now, if you look at some of the possibilities which were there in the movie, m- for all you know, let's say if Mulan would have joined hands with the negative forces because of the powers, and maybe their power would have got multiplied. But I wonder, will that be would she become a legend what she is today? Right. So that's my submission to each one of you here is, follow that heart. What we typically say, and what we say, follow your passion, be who you are, and you will realize results are bound to come, right? And this is what, interesting quote, and it sums it all. When you talk about gender inequality or the way women are traditionally treated in our society, and for that matter, at that point of time when this movie was shot, as in the that period. So if you had such a daughter with chi is your inner power, you know and the boundless energy of life itself speaking through her every motion. Could you tell her that only a son could wield a chi? That a daughter would risk shame, dishonor, exile? Ancestors, I could not. And Hua Zhou is the father of Mulan. Now, even though Mulan helped her regiment to win the enemies, and the moment they realized that she is a woman, she was expelled. There was an expulsion from the army. She said, "That's all right. Rather than expelling me from the army, why don't you just execute me?" And the commander said, "If you show me your face ever again, I'll execute you." The point here is, in spite of proving that who she is and who she was, still, it was looked down upon. It was more of a a dishonor. But I would say, her father was somebody who really supported her, though silently. But why is it that the son has to wield a she? Why not a daughter? He in fact went to an extent to tell her daughter that, look, you have to hide this power of yours. And when she was training to become a soldier, the commander said, you know what, I have seen you have a lot of your chi is good. Why are you hiding it? So there was some sort of a dilemma with her. But once she was absolutely clear, this is what I want to be, she really flourished. And what I would say is, as the last slide for my discussion before we get into some discussions, is the girl became the soldier became a leader, and the leader became a legend, which is going on for last so many centuries. Ask yourself, how are you living your life? Are you living a life which stands out from what others are doing? Are you living a life which is like, yeah, you are also a part of what others are doing, a part of the herd? Or what is it that drives you? When is it, you know, when you're put in a spot, what is it that would you do? Would you go with what your values are, or would you go by probably a lesser sternness path? Yeah. So there is no right and wrong answer to this. I would pause here for a moment, and before I check if anybody wants to ask or share anything, let me stop sharing the screen for a moment. Yes. Any reflections, anyone, before we move on? I really like this last three lines. The girl became a soldier, the soldier became a leader, and the leader became the legend. How the transition happened, how the evolution happened. I would say how the upward spiral movement happened. Yeah. So with that, I think um, this is almost 25 minutes, maybe 20, 25 minutes by the time we started. A quick response, quick reflections before we close the session today. You can always reach out to me on my email. You can always subscribe to my channel. You'll keep on getting updates. You can always follow me on Sequel Jimmy on Instagram. I see some of you are already doing that, so thank you so much for doing that. Yep. Rajesh, Neha,
So,
anything? Yeah, yeah, Neha.
yeah, sure, sure. I just have a question, Jimmy. You said that, of course, your deceit weakens you.
Yeah.
And, we sort of wear a facade. And in order to just hide who we are, we then continue to wear more facades. Um, yeah, I think we should not definitely do that. But I've just seen people who are doing that. Uh, they are being judged better. So, I think such people should not be really successful. But the reality is, we do see some of them, becoming a sort of example in the society. So what's your take on it?
Well, Neha, there are a couple of ways in which we can look at this. Number one, sometimes people are not even aware that they're wearing a facade. There are a lot of people
Mm-hmm.
who, in their pursuit to please others, or probably to please the situation they are in, or the stakeholders, they keep on changing. So according to them, this is what the situation demands, that's what I'm doing. So that could be one possibility. So, and however, when
Mm-hmm.
you are looking at them from an outside perspective, you realize, oh my god, I mean, what kind of a facade and mask this person is wearing. Second part, it could always give them a short term gain. However, it would not be a sustained
Mm-hmm.
success, because sooner or later that facade will fall down. You will not be able
Mm-hmm.
to camouflage your behavior in the long run, right? And the
Correct.
and the third thing would be, at the end of the day, what matters is you. If you know that you are wearing a facade, a day will not be far when one fine day you really want to get rid of it. There would be, as I said, there would be some sort of gains which you may get, but the satisfaction will not be there. And what I have realized over a period of time is, at the end of the day, whatever you do, is there some satisfaction you derive out of it? I think that's the key. So
True, true.
given these three things, yeah, I would say uh, people will not be able to sustain their success if they keep on wearing the facade.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree with you totally.
Thanks,
Thank
thanks,
you. Thank you for that answer.
thanks for that question. It helped me, to relate to so many things.
Sure.
Anybody else? Fanasab, we want to say something? Sir, you're on mute.
Yeah, yeah. Hi, Jimmy. First of all, thank you very much. How are you,
Fine,
Jimmy?
thank
I want to understand what is the value for Mulan in today's this changing scenario or changing world by the lot of means. Is this value system is still going to play important role in coming years, or value system will change as per the world wants to change?
That's a very interesting question, Rajesh ji. First of all, if you look at your question, when you're saying, will there be will the world will change, or will the values will help us over a period of time?
I just want to add one thing here, Jimmy. You have to compare the value system from Mulan's era to in 2021 also.
Yeah, yeah, very true. But if you see those three values which Mulan lived with, the truthfulness, loyal, brave, and true, I think they are true today as well, right? I have seen. I would like to quote,
Right.
the loyalty aspect, at least. Um, if let's say, if somebody is, I'll give you a very simple example, right? When the pandemic started, right? So there were some sort of turmoil, uncertainty. However, there were people who continued to put their faith and trust and belief and loyalty towards me, right? And I was very much aware of what kind of behavior it is being exhibited towards me. And when the time came, I could also take care of them, because loyalty is always a two-way street. You just can't expect loyalty, and you just can't reciprocate loyalty. It has to be there, right? So that's one. So I would say they are very, very true in today's modern day context as well. Second part to your question, yes, a long-term sustained success is nothing but a values-driven success, because your values are nothing but who you are, what you believe in. And the third part is, values could be of two types: core values and peripheral values. Now, this is what most of us don't bifurcate in. We use only one umbrella, you use only one framework. So maybe what we can do is, whatever values you believe in, divide them into two parts. What are your core values? And what are the values probably you may wish to change because of the dynamic world? So as the times are changing, you may want to let's say, for example, earlier, loyalty, if I go back to that value, uh, people will join one organization and will retire from there.
Yeah.
Today that is not the case, but that doesn't mean that loyalty as a value has gone down. Maybe in the olden days, the opportunities were well less. Today the opportunities are more. Or for that matter, if you look at respecting the elders is one of the core values, especially in the Indian subcontinent, right? I can tell you right now also, whatever my dad says or mother says, whether I feel it is right or wrong, I don't say anything. But look at the children of today. You tell them something, they are always ready to give you feedback and tell you something or the other. Does that mean they don't?
Definitely, I'm experiencing this.
But that doesn't mean that the children don't respect the elders. So the way society is evolving, the way communication is evolving, the way the relationships are evolving, the core values will stay because they become our guiding path. Peripheral values may keep on changing. Yeah. So the first step is bifurcation of the two, and to each his own. What peripheral values will Rajesh will have, or what core values Bhuvnesh will have, may not be the same. It is to each his own.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Dhanyawada in Hindi. You are in Chandigarh, Jimmy, today.
सर फिर तो पंजाबी बोलनी चाहिए ना.
Twada dhanyawad.
Thank you.
I'm very lucky, Jimmy. I'm in your company, your guidance. You are my coach, mentor, friend, philosopher, guide.
My pleasure, sir. Thanks for this
I
time.
always. So
Thank
obliged.
So I feel like a Dronacharya, and I feel like you're an Eklavya. We have never met, but we always met virtually.
Definitely. We'll meet soon.
We shall. God willing.
Definitely, Jimmy. I'll come to that.
So thank you for joining every time. Whenever we are doing a session, you are ensuring. I see to it that you're always there. So thank you so very much.
Thank you, Jimmy. Thank you. Welcome, Jimmy.
Thank you. Okay. So anybody else would like to share anything? Sethi Saab, you just joined in. Welcome. I think he can't hear us. And I'm almost at the end. I'll just say hello to him and then probably we'll log off. Sethi Saab, can you hear us?
Yes, good evening, Jimmy.
Sir, good evening. We just finished, sir. We just had some discussions around the movie. We generally keep this for about 30-35 minutes.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I missed it.
No problem, sir.
So I'll come to Chandigarh to see it with you.
Most welcome, sir. Most welcome. I will send the recording of the session, of course. I mean, you can always watch it at your convenience.
Yeah. Please do that. Please do that.
Thanks for joining, sir.
Yeah. Please take care and sorry again. Thanks.
No problem, sir. Not at all. So thank you so much, everybody, for taking time out to join today's session on management through movies. And next fortnight, we'll be back with another movie. Thank you so very much. Stay safe and namaste.
Thank you, Jimmy.
Thank you, Jimmy. Thanks.
Thank you, Jimmy. That was very nice. Yeah, thank you, everyone. Have a good weekend ahead.